Okay, in a second, the course syllabus is going to pop up here. It's available on Georgia View. I don't give out paper syllabi anymore because it's been my experience that people lose them. So if it's on Georgia View, you can never lose it, right? It's always there in the content browser in the syllabus and assignments folder. Okay, so most important information here. First, my name is pronounced Moyer. You'll probably get it wrong at various points. That's okay. It doesn't bother me. My office is across the hall in room 239. And I have to be in the office on Mondays and Wednesdays between 2 and 4, and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12:30 to 2:30. Those are not the only times that I can be in the office. They're just the times that I have to be there. So if you need to talk to me about an assignment or something else, and you can't meet with me during my regular office hours, right, then we can schedule something else, right? The best way to get in touch with me is using just regular plain old GSW email, right? My email address is here on the syllabus. It's michael.moyer@gsw.edu. Email me directly. Do not email me through Georgia View. I don't check the Georgia View email, right? Just contact me directly. All right, so you're going to need 4 textbooks for this class. The one you're going to be needing first, right, for the first several weeks, is called Writing Analytically by David Rosenwasser and Jill Stephen. It looks more or less like, actually, yeah, Alan? Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you could just hold that up, that's what your copy would look like. Yours wouldn't have the blue instructor's band around it. So yeah, you'll need that pretty much right away. If you don't have it yet, I have actually posted a PDF of Chapter 1 in the Syllabus and Assignments folder so that you can get the homework assignment done for next time so you can read the first chapter, right? But you're going to need to get your hands on this ASAP because it's illegal for me to continue to copy and post PDFs, right? You know, and the last thing I need is legal trouble from a publisher. Right, second thing that we are going to be needing. This is the Norton Portable Introduction to Literature 11th edition, right? It should look like this. It should be green. If the book you have doesn't look like this, it's probably the wrong one. Now, that said, like, most of the editions have the same thing, the same stories in them, but that does mean that your page numbers might be different. So it's best if you just, like, I choose this one mostly because it's relatively inexpensive. So try to make sure that this is the one you got. Towards the end of the semester, we're also going to be looking at 2 plays that are not in the Norton Introduction. We're going to be looking at Bertolt Brecht's Mother Courage and Her Children, and Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are Dead. I have heard that the bookstore doesn't have Mother Courage.
No, it does.
Oh, it does. They have it now?
Back.
Oh, it's in the back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but they do have it now.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it.
All right. All right, good. All right, well, that's good to know. Okay, so I have also, like, you'll see here that I've color-coded the textbooks. So on the course calendar, right, the text, like, you'll know which textbook you need to use by which color the assignment is in on the course calendar. So if it's in, you know, so if the homework assignment is in red, you know it's something from Writing Analytically, right? We're also going to be reading, as I said at the before class started, some philosophy texts, but those are going to be just in PDF form that I'm going to upload to Georgia View, right? So you don't need to buy a book for that. All right, as far as your grade is concerned, you're going to be doing 2 papers, 5 philosophical reflections, 5 literary reflections, and 5 homework assignments out of Writing Analytically. The homework assignments out of Writing Analytically are worth 2 points each, so 10 points total out of 100. The philosophical reflections, the literary reflections are worth 4 points each, so a total of 20 points out of 100 for each of those. I will explain what I want you to do with those when you have to start doing them, right? We won't worry about talking about that just now. But all of the assignments are already posted in Georgia View. You can go and look them over if you want to. Participation is going to be 10% of your grade, right? By participation, I don't just mean showing up twice a week and sort of sitting there with a blank look on your face, staring ahead, right? Being here is not enough. I want to hear you guys talking. I want you to talk to me. I want you to talk to each other. I want to hear your voices, right? So active participation. Paper 1 is going to be on the philosophy texts. I am going to give you a philosophical question that I want you to answer to the best of your ability using the philosophical sources that I've given you, right? Paper 2 is going to be a research paper on a literary text, a short story, a poem, or a play. So you'll have to find 5 outside sources for that. We'll be doing, a library research session where you can hopefully find some stuff to work with, and so on and so forth. Does anybody have any questions about anything so far? Anything unclear, anything confusing? Okay, if at any point you do have any questions, or if I'm going too fast, just, feel free to stop me. I don't mind being interrupted. Okay, right. Okay, so the classroom policies portion of this gets a little longer every semester as the laws and the rules keep changing. So as far as policies that are specific to this class are concerned, I do have an attendance policy. I do expect you to be here. You get 3 absences. Think of them as being like vacation days or personal days at a job, right? I don't care why you're not here. You don't have to tell me why you're not here. Telling me why you're not here is not going to earn you more absences. You get 3. Beyond those 3, then you start losing 2 points from your final average for each one, right? So, and look, I can be flexible about some of this to an extent, right? So if you know that you have a health problem or a family issue that is going to keep you out of class for a little while, then just come talk to me about it, right? If I don't know, I can't make any accommodations for you. If you know about something that is going to keep you out of class for a little while, as soon as you know about it, you should, don't just tell me, tell your other instructors as well, right? I also, as you may have noticed, start class promptly at 9:30, right? I don't wait for everybody to show up. I'm not going to repeat myself if you come in late. So be here at 9:30. If you are not here at 9:30, you're tardy. 3 tardies will equal 1 absence. Okay, so that's the course-specific policies, right? Now, as far as university and system policies are concerned, okay, so if you have a disability that entitles you to any accommodations, you don't have to tell me about it. You go to the Office of Disability Services. It's in the same building as the registrar. Weirdly, it is on the top floor of that building, which doesn't seem to make any sense, but what does, right? So you will provide evidence of your disability to them. They will send me a letter that won't tell me what your disability is, but will tell you what accommodations you are expecting to receive. I sign the letter, send it back to them, and you get those accommodations, right? And we never have to have that awkward conversation. So that's, all there is really to say about that. Writing Center. Everybody knows where the Writing Center is? How many of you have used the Writing Center for an assignment? Okay, it's a couple of you, good. I do give extra credit for going to the Writing Center, right? So if you take paper 1 or paper 2 to the Writing Center, and I get back an email that says, Michaela came to the Writing Center and we talked about blah, then you will get half a letter grades bump on that assignment, right? So, your C plus becomes a B minus, so on and so forth. Everybody knows where it is too, right? It's over in the next building to this one. Okay, great. Okay, academic dishonesty. Now, as far as what constitutes dishonesty for this particular class, right? First, turning in work you didn't do and putting your name on it. So if, say, you happen to cut and paste a bunch of stuff from SparkNotes or Schmoop.com and put your name on it and submit that as your paper, right? That's plagiarism, that's academic dishonesty, right? Anything you take from a source that you don't cite is academic dishonesty. If you buy a paper from a paper mill, like some online paper writing service, and put your name on it and turn it in, that is also academic dishonesty. And those papers, by the way, are actually easier to catch than people might think, because all the people who are doing that, who are running those paper writing businesses are going to SparkNotes or Schmoop.com and cutting and pasting. Right? So if you are buying papers from these sites, you are getting ripped off. So those two actions constitute academic dishonesty, right? The other thing you cannot do, the other thing that counts as academic dishonesty in this class, right? Turning in work that you already did for another class. Right? If you did a paper for another class and you turn it in for this class as well, that is academic dishonesty, right? Now, if you want to write a paper that is on a similar topic to something you wrote about in high school or in another course, come talk to me about that first, right? And show me the original paper, and we can go over what you can do to change it to make it into a new paper, right? But don't just submit something you've already written. Now, when I catch instances of academic dishonesty, I always report them to the Student Conduct Office, right? This is in part because I have been burned too many times by giving people second chances. So if I catch you plagiarizing, I am going to write that report, right? Otherwise, the penalty is going to depend on the amount of plagiarism in the paper, right? And the apparent motivation, right? If it looks like it was more or less accidental, or if the plagiarism isn't the whole paper, is just portions of it, it's going to be a failure of the assignment, right? If the whole paper is plagiarized, it's a 0 on the assignment, right? No credit for the assignment. So just keep in mind that the penalties for this, even if it is more or less accidental, are fairly severe. Okay, so I'm not getting to the end of this yet. All right. Last two things I have to talk about here. Okay, Title IX and sex discrimination. So if you bring to my attention any instance of gender-based harassment or discrimination, sexual assaults, anything of that nature that has happened to you or to someone you know, right? I just need to inform you that I can't keep quiet, that I'm not legally allowed to keep that quiet, right? That I have to tell the university's Title IX coordinator if you come to me with this information. I'm not saying don't come to university employees when things like this happen, but you do need to know that if you tell us about things like this, then we have to tell the Title IX coordinator, and and they will decide what actions are appropriate, right? We're not allowed to keep quiet about this. Finally, I need to point this out, but I am actually not allowed to talk about it. There is a university system-wide gag order on faculty talking about the campus carry law. So all I'm going to do is point to the fact that this information is here in the syllabus. If you want to know what your rights and privileges are under said law, you can go to the University System of Georgia's website. It will describe it for you, but I'm not allowed to say anything about it.
Why not?
I don't know why not. I suspect it is because if I give you any misinformation about it,
You're liable with the university.
then yeah, exactly, the university is liable for that. So, and I wouldn't, I wouldn't misinform you about this on purpose, right? But, I'll be honest, I don't know all the ins and outs of the law.
Mhm.
So, in order to avoid any liability on my part or the university's part, this is where you can find the information. All right. So that's that. All right, so just brief word then about the course calendar on the syllabus, and then we can move on to other things. So the way the syllabus is set up, right? Important dates are going to be in this notes column at the on the right side of the sheet. So for example, if you are not enrolled in this class and need to add it, your last day to do so will be tomorrow. If you want to erase this class from your record, it'll be like you were never here. Your last day to drop it is next Tuesday, right? So those kinds of dates, midterm grades posted, that sort of thing, will all be in that column. Now, the way the course dates are set up here, right, the homework always refers to what we're going to be doing next time, right? So I do not expect you to have pages 1 to 37 of writing analytically read for today and assignment 3 on page 37 done for today, right? I want you to have that done for next time. And then following that, right, chapter 2 of writing analytically and assignment 3 on page 68 is going to be for the class meeting following next Wednesday, right? Okay. Just, I think this is relatively clear, but sometimes people get confused about it, so. Right. And I also just want to show you, because there's been some confusion about this in the past, where you're going to be turning in all of the assignments. So I have a Dropbox set up. Let's actually just give you a student, because your view is going to be different. Right, so if you click on assessments, go down to assignments. Right, all of the assignments have folders posted by and large in order of when they're due, right? So the first thing you're going to have to submit is writing analytically assignment 3, page 37. That has to be submitted by the 18th. And these folders will close after these dates, right? So I do not accept late assignments. The assignment has to be done by the due date listed here. If for whatever reason you cannot get an assignment done by the due date, again, due to some sort of medical or family emergency, right, something that constitutes a legitimate emergency, then come talk to me and we'll work something else out, right? But frankly, I got tired of people waiting until the end of the semester doing nothing and then trying to submit everything in the last week, right? Not happening. Okay, so anybody have any questions about any of this shit? Yes?
All right, I'm prone to procrastination. So, like where it says, the first one says January 18th, we can turn it in on January 18th, right?
Well, if it's in blue, like if you can click on the link, you can turn it in now.
Okay.
As soon as these turn blue, you can turn them in.
Okay.
But yeah, by and large, you won't be able to turn them in early. And, sorry. And you won't be able to turn them in late, right?
Yes.
You could sort of have to turn them in within the window of their
So
particular
like
due date.
January 18th is like,
That's the last time.
Yeah, January 18th is going to be the limit for that
Okay.
one. Yeah. Yes?
Is there some sort of format you want us to put our answers?
Okay. Everything should be everything you turn in should be double spaced, for one thing. In part because I am getting older. I do not see as well as I used to, and little crabbed text in little boxes hurts my eyes. So yes. So please double space everything. Everything should be in 12-point Times New Roman font.
so like standard MLA format?
Basically standard MLA format. Yeah. Most of these assignments you're not really going to have to do much citation for. When you do have to do citation, I will let you know what I want. Okay, and that's all going to be listed in the instructions for the various assignments, which, as I said, are already posted. Okay, any other questions about any of this? We good? Okay, great. So, the basic goal of this class is to get you, by April, to be thinking less like student writers and thinking a little bit more like philosophers. So I'm not going to be too terribly focused on issues of grammar and mechanics here. This is stuff that you should have had in high school. If you took Comp 1 here, you should probably have had it in Comp 1 as well, right? So we're not going to be too worried. Like, as far as I'm concerned, a grammatical English sentence is a sentence that has a subject and a verb that another speaker of English can understand and interpret, right? I'm not too terribly worried about your grammar and spelling. What I am worried about, though, is your use of evidence and the way you draw claims out of that evidence, right? The way you use that evidence, observations from the physical world, from what's around you, to come up with ideas, right? That's the basic point of this class. So the key to reading any text, and the word text, by the way, doesn't just refer to a written text to a book, right? A text can be a situation, a person, a physical space, right? Anything that you can understand a little better through an interpretive act. So we're going to start with close observation, actually, of a physical space, right? What I want you to do is look around this classroom and make observations about what you see here. Now, don't interpret anything yet, right? I just want you to tell me what you see, not what you think about it or what you think it means. Okay?
It's a lot of white.
Okay.
Clock's breaking.
Yeah, color scheme, white. Yes. Okay. How do you know the clock is broken?
It's not moving.
And
It doesn't match
not
my
a lot.
watch.
Okay, yeah. Clock hands,
An enormous door.
not moving, wrong time.
That is a tall.
So we would interpret this, right? We would interpret this data as saying, okay, the clock must be broken. So we get what we're doing here now? Okay, great. So somebody said something about the door.
It's a giant door with a tiny window.
Okay. Big wooden door, tiny window. All right, good. Keep going.
All the people in here look tired.
Okay.
And it's day.
Well, you know, why might that be?
They went to bed late.
Okay, went to bed late.
I have a
This is an early class.
I had an 8
Yeah,
o'clock class.
yeah.
Ditto.
The desks are peeling.
Okay, desks are peeling. What else do we notice about them? Focus on the desks for a minute. What else do you notice about the desk? What's that?
Mine has graffiti.
Okay, drawings, graffiti.
They're old.
They're not like put together, you know?
Okay, what do you mean by
You have
put
a
together?
chair and then you have the desk.
Okay, yeah, the chair and the desk are separate.
Right.
And the desks are kind of, they're big, right? They're big and kind of heavy. All right, keep going.
About the desks.
About anything.
I was like,
If you want to keep going on the desks, great, go for it. But what's that?
There's some gum under there.
All right, gum.
figure out everything you can about the
They're
desks.
just
Yeah, don't eat that.
3 decorations. Yeah,
Pardon?
They're just 3 decorations.
Okay, so sparsely decorated.
There's only 2 whiteboards, but one of them is obviously not used.
Okay, 2 whiteboards. Why is one of them obviously not used?
Because you're not over there using
It's
it.
spotless.
Okay, yeah. One is spotless, right? One is perfectly clean and pristine, right?
Which
Yeah, one is totally clean and pristine. And what about the one I'm writing on? What can we see on this?
It needs to be washed.
Yeah, badly, right? We can see layers of things that I've written on it, things that other professors have written on it, right? So one is pristine, right? One is filthy. So yeah, we can interpret the pristine nature of that whiteboard as suggesting that it's probably never been used, right?
Or maybe the room was turned a different way.
Okay. Now, let's, try to think about this in the context of the way the whole room is set up. I think that's a good idea. So, why does that whiteboard not get used?
Because the desks are facing that way.
Yeah, the desks are facing this way, right? And given the size and weight of the desks,
It's too much work to move them.
exactly, yeah. Is it easy or convenient to flip everything to face that whiteboard?
And you've got the projector already facing the front.
Exactly, yes. We've got the projector here and the screen at the front of the room, right? So we have this whiteboard over here, but the way the room is set up, the expectation seems to be that everybody's going to be facing this way all the time, right? So so we have this projector, and what else do we have that might be related to the projector in some way?
Screen.
We have a screen.
Squeaky.
Pardon?
Squeaky screen when it came down.
Yeah, a squeaky and old and rather sticky screen. Oh, there are only two E's in screen. What else do we have sort of up at the front of the room?
Your desk or the computer desk.
Oh, yeah, we have a computer desk, right? A little smart card.
Phone tech.
Okay. So, if we look around at the material state of the room here, right? Okay, what suggests old to you? What makes you think it's old?
The desks are peeling and being graffitied on
The
by
tallest
four
comes up.
generations.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tile is nasty.
Okay, yeah, tile is dirty. That's actually right, tile's dirty and cracked. The desks are old, right?
The clock doesn't
The clock doesn't work.
Yeah. Clock's broken.
Yeah.
Look at some
problem.
of that newspaper clipping too. Look how old.
There's that old yellowed newspaper clipping, right?
Is that
The
peanuts?
room is just naturally cold, like it doesn't have.
Okay, the room is cold, right?
It's a sad room.
Yeah.
It's cold, old.
So the physical state of the room seems to be kind of old and neglected, right?
Right.
And yet, is there anything in the room that appears to be shiny and new?
You can paint.
Oh, well, the camera I brought with me, right? So the camera is not actually part of the room.
Well, yeah, the paint.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and actually, I can tell you why the paint is new. We had a flood over the summer. Yeah, there were some guys working on the roof, and they didn't tarp everything properly. So our summer monsoon season came, and everything came spilling down into the classrooms. So that's why the paint is new. That also probably explains why the floors are actually a little bit nastier than they might otherwise be. But apart from the paint, yeah, we do have a brand spanking new projector and a nice happy little smart card here, right? So given the state of the other things in the room, what does this tell us, and how might we interpret university priorities?
It's not the English department.
Okay, that the English department, at least the physical state of the English department, right, of the English building is not a concern, right?
Well, it still works, so why would they fix it?
Yeah. They focus more on utilitarian sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, they fixed things they had to fix, right?
And they keep up the things that are necessary to keep classes running smoothly.
So the
Smart
projector.
projector.
Okay, and and I think the point I'm trying to get to is what do they assume is necessary for keeping a class running smoothly?
Technology.
Yeah, the tech, right? They assume that I need a computer and that I need a projector to keep the class running smoothly. Right, so we can interpret this we can interpret the space in this particular area. The physical space right? Not that important, not a priority. But classroom tech, right? Fancy, shiny little machines, that they're willing to spend money on. Right, and I am not doing this simply to complain about my working conditions or, about, the relative generosity of my employer. This does just, this is a useful kind of first exercise for looking around at your environment, noticing and interpreting things in that environment, right? So we're gonna try a slightly different sample here now. What I want you to do is make observations about me, about my appearance, about my voice, about my mannerisms, about anything that you happen to notice about me, right? And don't worry about hurting my feelings, right? I will be 40 years old in March. I am a big boy. I can handle it. So just, right? Don't be mean, but make honest observations.
You're married.
Okay, what makes you say that I'm married?
Yeah, ring.
Okay, I am wearing a ring
Married or engaged?
on my, yes, I'm wearing a ring on the ring finger of my left hand, right? So the information I'm actually looking for from you is not you're married, right? The kind of information I'm actually looking for you is that I'm wearing a ring, right?
Oh.
That's what I'm looking for. Married is an interpretation of that data.
You're wearing a sweater.
Okay, yes, I am wearing a sweater.
And sneakers.
And sneakers.
Blue jeans.
And jeans.
You
Okay.
got long hair.
What's that? Okay, long hair. Yeah.
With a full beard.
I have a beard.
You have white stains in your jeans.
I do. I genuinely do not see where these are.
This is the white patches.
Okay, yeah, okay, the knees are a little worn, right?
Right.
Is that what you mean?
Meaning they
Okay.
washed.
You have 10 fingers.
I do have 10 fingers, yes. Okay, but seriously, this is actually perhaps more meaningful than you might think, right? If I have all 10 of my fingers, what does that suggest about the kind of work I've been doing most of my
You
life?
don't work with chop saws.
That I do not work with chop saws, yes.
Bandsaws.
That I probably don't do...
Sharp pencils.
Okay, yeah, I probably don't do any work that is physically dangerous, right?
Clear enunciation and projection.
Okay. Clear enunciation and projection, okay.
Big words.
Okay, keep going.
You're comfortable in this environment.
Okay, what suggests to you that I'm comfortable?
You're wearing a sweater, sneakers, and jeans.
And you
Okay.
have a t-shirt on under.
Okay, yeah, I have a t-shirt sticking out underneath the sweater, right? So, yeah, my dress indicates that I'm comfortable, right? Or that I want to be comfortable.
Yes.
Okay.
Unlike the scary professors that come in wearing suits.
Your body language too.
Like
Okay.
your energy.
Yeah.
Okay, what about my body language suggests comfort?
All of us. I mean,
Okay, I talk with my hands a lot.
You would be
And
like
you walk
standing
with
at
your
the
coffee
tap.
cup.
When people are nervous, they jitter, like they'll just mess with their hands just to do something.
And you're not
doing that.
Okay.
Like stand in one place.
Yeah, you're not
Teach
hiding
in
behind
one
the smart
place.
card.
Okay, not hiding. In fact, I've taken down, right, the object in the front of the room here that I could hide behind, right, and just sort of keep notes on and lecture from. Okay, so if I'm not hiding behind the smart card and I'm talking with my hands, like, are there other ways that I appear to be sort of trying to engage with you?
Making eye contact.
Okay, I make eye contact. Okay, what else?
You kind of speak on our level.
Pardon?
You kind of speak on our level.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Like when you said you're not being a D.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I,
Okay.
I'm relatively comfortable swearing, right?
Right.
Okay.
Hard level.
Well, it does make the environment more comfortable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a discussion about
unless you're deeply uncomfortable with swearing, in which case.
Nobody should.
Okay, what were you saying?
I would consider this more a discussion than a lecture.
Okay, I'm asking you questions, right?
Yeah.
And, expecting a response. Okay.
You allowed us to basically criticize you?
Okay, yeah, I've given you space to make potentially critical comments about me, right? Okay, right. Willing to be humiliated. Okay, anything else?
Good personal hygiene, your hair isn't greasy or anything.
Okay, yeah, I'm dressed casually, but I'm clean, right?
You have lots of money
What leads you to believe that I have lots of money?
because your wallet's a whole lot bigger than mine.
How do you know?
Business cards
Okay.
and bills.
It's right there.
The shape of it, that could be a small phone.
Okay, thick wallet. Now, does the fact that my wallet is thick necessarily mean that it's full of money?
It could be coupons.
It could be full of, it could be full of coupons, it could be full of credit cards or membership cards of various sorts, right?
Or food stamps.
Or food stamps, yeah. Now, let me put it to you this way, so given other things you've observed about my appearance and my demeanor, does the thick wallet likely mean that I'm rich?
No.
You're probably saving money.
Okay.
I mean, you're not buying like khakis or anything. So
Okay. Yeah, so I'm thrifty enough. I'm thrifty enough that I don't buy new clothes.
So it is coupons.
Yeah, well,
Where's
yeah.
the $10 that he saved from the khakis?
Well, yeah, and think of this, think about our context here as well, right? What's my job?
I'm an English teacher.
I'm an English professor, right? How rich is the average English professor?
40 grand.
Maybe you have another job.
Yeah, no. No time for that. But yeah, so like, yeah, my wallet is kind of bulky, right? But other context clues suggest that it's not because it's full of money, right?
What is it full of? What's in your wallet?
Mostly transit cards from cities I've been to in the last year. Yay, public transportation. Okay, so we have already taken some of this data and made some interpretive leaps from it, right? So is there anything else you think you can determine about what sort of person I am or what sort of teacher I am or how I want you to think of me, like how I want to present myself to you, that you can glean from this?
Laid back.
Okay, that I want you to think I'm laid back.
I would say laid back, but with the rules are certain.
Well, yeah, he's still a professor, but he didn't come in a suit,
Mm-hmm.
which
You
professors.
didn't come in
suits.
and just talk the entire time. You wanted us involved, so.
And you know what you're talking
Yes,
about. You're
like that.
intelligent in your field.
Okay,
Like,
what suggests to you that I know what I'm talking about?
you have a
Confidence.
feel of authority about it. Like you know what
Okay,
you're talking about. You
so-
don't stutter when you
So I speak with confidence, right?
There we go. That's something.
Does the fact that I speak with confidence necessarily mean that I know what the hell I'm talking about?
It suggests that to you. It gives you the facade that you do.
It suggests at the very least that I want you to think that I know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm not trying to undermine my own classroom authority here. Right? I'm not trying to suggest that I don't know what I'm doing. But what I want you to think about here, what I want you to keep in mind here, right, is that everything has a rhetoric. Right? Everything that you encounter in your day-to-day life, whether it means to or not, is trying to persuade you of something, is trying to convince you of something. And you will often find within that particular object, that particular text, that there are also things that undermine what it's trying to persuade you of, right? So for example, if we think to what we did looking at the classroom. Now, the projector and the smart cart are attempts to make the university look kind of, forward-thinking and tech-savvy, right? Like, we are trying to put together the classroom of the future, right? Or at the very least of the...
Today.
Yeah, or maybe, a couple days before yesterday. But that's undercut by the fact that the room itself is dirty and obviously otherwise neglected, right? Right. The projector and the smart cart are just kind of shiny objects to draw your attention, so you forget that you're sitting in kind of a shithole. Now, is there anything in what you've observed here that suggests that my confidence in front of you might be a facade? That I'm trying to convince you that I'm confident when in fact I'm not? Is there anything in here that suggests that I'm not exactly as I present myself or exactly as I appear to be?
I mean, if I didn't know you were a college professor, I wouldn't assume you were a college professor. Going back to the you're not wearing a suit thing.
Okay.
Maybe more like
Okay. But then again, like, that's also part of my rhetoric, right? That's
Yeah.
part of what I want you to think, right? I want you to think that I'm not like, the way I present myself suggests that I want you to think that I'm not like,
the average.
an uptight, professor, or more maybe,
Chill.
yeah, okay, yeah. That I'm maybe a little bit more chill, yeah. Okay, and so, I mean, there are probably, things that could be interpreted here multiple ways, right? For example, do people always talk with their hands because they're confident?
No.
No.
Sometimes people talk with their hands because they're nervous, right? What about, my other sort of little physical tick that I keep performing over and over again? Drinking coffee, right? Constantly drinking coffee, right? That also gives me something to do with my hands. And what does coffee tend to do to you?
Make you jittery.
Wakes you up.
It can make you hyper, can make you jittery, right? So if I need coffee for a 9:30 class,
You don't sleep enough. You're
okay,
like us.
either I don't sleep enough or I just don't like mornings, right?
Or you have an earlier class.
What's that?
Or you have an earlier class.
I might have an earlier class that I need the help getting through, right?
Do you?
No. In fact, one of the pluses of working in the English department is that we do not schedule classes before 9:30.
That's awesome.
And honestly, like, you guys are lucky that I'm here and coherent and wearing pants. I do not much care for mornings. All right. So, what you're going to do for the first homework assignment, right, is you're going to apply this same kind of logic to a visual image, right, to a painting. I want you to go online, select a painting, and you are going to write about 250 words about this painting. Right? Analyzing details, picking it apart, thinking about how the parts of the painting are related to each other and related to the audience, right? Yes?
So like ethos, logos, pathos?
I wouldn't worry so much about ethos, logos, pathos for this, right? What I'm more concerned about is sort of direct observation of physical qualities in the painting. Yes?
Can we do it in like the bullet points, or do you want it in like paragraph?
Do the bullet points for yourself,
Okay, and
and then write it in paragraph form, yes. Did you have a question as well, Heath?
No.
Oh, okay. Yes?
This is due before Monday.
This is going to be due before. This is going to be due for next Wednesday, because we don't meet on Monday. We don't meet again for a week
Okay.
because of the Martin Luther King holiday.
Do you want us to turn it into like a sheet of paper?
No, you're going to upload it to that first folder in Georgia View.
So we never turn in physical copies.
You will pretty much never turn in physical copies of work in this class. So we will be saving some paper. So good for us.
Is this assignment also up on Georgia View?
No, this assignment is in the Writing Analytically textbook on page 37. So it is up on Georgia View if you need that first chapter, the PDF of it that I posted, right?
So that's,
Otherwise, it's in the textbook. Yes.
It could be any painting, even ones we already know about.
Yeah, it can be any painting. Just make sure it's a painting so that everybody is looking at the same kind of image. Where the hell is that? Thank you.
so do you want a copy of the painting with?
Yes, that was my next point. Yeah, I want you to include a JPEG of the painting when you upload the assignment, just so that so that I can see what it is you're talking with, so I can see what it is you're working with.
What page was the assignment on?
The assignment is on page 37, so it's on the last page. It's on the very last page of the first chapter. So just to get a little bit of practice with this. All right, I'm going to put a painting up on the projector here.
And it has to be a painting, not like a picture or a comic strip.
It has to be a painting. Again, it's just because I want everybody working with the same kind of image, and I want it to be an image that is kind of deep enough to be interpretable. I have had people in the past say try to do something with a meme that ended up just being kind of too superficial, right? So I figure it's like, yes, you can do serious analysis of a meme, but let's get practice with things that are a little bit more serious first. Okay, so here is our painting. And we'll just sit in the dark for a minute. Okay, it's coming into focus. Can everybody see this?
Barely.
Pardon?
Barely.
Okay, could somebody close the blinds in the back just so that there's less light hitting the screen? Thank you very much. If somebody could help him as well.
There's a lot going on in that painting.
Thank you.
I want one. I'll help you do this one. Okay. We'll try together. You got it.
Okay, so what we're looking at here is part of a mural on the Mexican Revolution by the painter Diego Rivera. Any of you ever heard of Rivera?
Yes.
Okay, good. And this portion of the mural is called The Intellectuals. So, which figures in the painting do you think represent the intellectuals? Which figures in the painting is it named after?
The three at the top.
Why would you say the ones at the top?
They're above everyone else, and it seems like the person in the middle and the right is sort of looking up to them.
No,
Or it seems like it's all focused in on
Those are
them.
the war people, those are the. I think it's the ones at the bottom left.
The ones at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Why
guys
do-
in the suits sitting on stacks of books.
Okay, yeah. So we've got in the bottom on
And
the
miniature.
people in the bottom here, right?
Right.
So one of them, we got a guy sitting on a stack of books.
There's a funnel on the guy's head.
That's
Yeah.
Gandhi.
No, that's a Gandalf wannabe.
One guy has got a funnel on his head. He's holding up a stick or a wand or something, right?
That is Gandalf.
And what else can we say about this particular figure?
He's learning.
Is he a teacher?
Okay, what suggests teacher to you? The stick or the
What are we talking about? The funnel guy?
funnel guy? Yeah.
Wizard, more like wizard.
He's elderly,
Wizard.
so
Okay.
like the wisdom of the elderly. His mannerism looks like he's showing or teaching the ones around him. Like the ones in
Okay.
the books looks like he could possibly be trying to mimic him or something.
Okay.
He's
So
in the center.
He's older. He's in the center, right? He has sort of the long white beard and wide eyes of wisdom, right? And he seems to he's positioned with a kind of air of authority, right?
Right, he's the
That's
focal
where I was
point
trying
of the
to go to.
picture.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's the focal point of the picture. Good. Now, what else is unusual about this particular figure? How is he different from every other figure in the painting?
He's wearing
He's
the funnel.
white.
Yeah, Yeah,
Well, he's wearing a funnel. Yes.
He's looking at us.
Yeah. He's looking directly at us. Is any other figure in the painting looking at us?
No.
Yeah, the other intellectuals, are they looking at anyone or anything?
No.
Yeah, the other intellectuals are looking up
Or
or
like at
down,
him.
right? Or yeah, they're looking around him, right? But their eyes aren't focused on anything specific. So we have, right, this sort of singer, philosopher, musician, right?
Okay, that's okay.
And they are all looking away. What else is weird about the figure of the singer?
She looks dreamy. Like her eyes.
Okay. Yeah, her eyes are mostly closed, right? What else is weird about her?
She's less, like her style is different than any other.
She looks more like a Picasso.
Okay.
She's not as
Detail.
detailed or.
Okay. Yeah, do any of these figures look kind of straightforwardly realistic?
No, not necessarily.
No, yeah, so this is, yeah, non-naturalistic painting, right? Non-realistic representation. So what we call stylized figures. What about her hands?
They're put together.
They're put together,
Are they
yeah.
resting on that other guy's head?
Yeah, and she's leaning on a guy who's sitting on an elephant, right? So she's leaning on someone else. Now, what about these figures in the back?
They're the militia.
They're more common folk, it looks like.
Okay, what suggests militia and what suggests the
They
common
have
people?
bullets.
They have bandoliers.
Okay, yeah, they're armed, right? They got bullets, they got guns. Right, so the guys in the back, yeah, they have bullets, they have guns. How else are they different from the figures at the bottom?
Or it looks like we have like a farmer,
They're
or like
tan.
they.
That one looks like.
Okay,
a
yeah, they're darker skinned, right? Yeah.
Right.
The intellectuals at the bottom are much whiter than the people at the top. Yeah, they're darker skinned, and yeah, somebody was saying something about what they're holding. Yeah, one guy's got a sheaf of wheat, right? What other objects do we see them holding?
Hammer, a gun, a rifle, it looks like.
Yeah, a hammer, a gun,
I think
and
it's a
what's
fish.
this?
Is that a fish?
It's not a fish.
I can't make
A
it out.
shield?
It's a sickle.
Okay.
Oh,
Does everybody know what does
Yeah.
everybody know what a sickle
It's
is?
like a mini scythe.
Yeah, it's used for cutting grain, right? So yeah, we got a hammer.
Communism.
Yeah, the conventional symbols of communism. Yeah. So these guys who appear to be workers, right, are probably meant to represent some communist movement, right? So how are they related to, like, what are they do? How are they behaving in relation to these intellectuals beneath them? What does it look like their attitude towards them
They're
is?
looking down at them.
Okay. Yeah, they're looking down. Yeah, they're not looking at us. They're looking down at these people.
They're not happy, they're angry.
Proletariat.
Meaning they probably
uprisings.
didn't like the intellectual movement.
Okay, yeah, they're looking down and they look angry, right?
It's like what Karl Marx was always talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the overt message of the painting is basically a Marxist
Angry
workers'
proletariats.
revolution. Remember, that essentially these workers are going to come and sweep away these fairly useless idiots, right? Because, I mean, the intellectuals at the bottom of the painting, they look pretty ridiculous, right?
He's wearing a funnel.
Yeah, the one guy's wearing a funnel, and the singer, right, the woman, is literally supporting herself on another person, right?
Is he a writer? Because he has a pen in his hand. The one on the
Stupid.
elephant.
Yeah, Yeah.
The one on the
he's
elephant?
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
a quill.
Yeah, so he's probably a writer or a composer, right? So she requires someone else.
That makes sense. So like composer
Yeah.
or okay.
Yeah, she requires someone else to lean on, right? She doesn't create for herself. So the overt message of the painting, right, seems to be workers' revolution, right? But then, again, think about this, right? Who's the only figure in the painting who's making direct contact with us?
the one
wizard.
who looks the most ridiculous.
The wizard guy, right? The one who looks the most absurd, right? The figure who looks the most ridiculous is the only one that is making any kind of human connection with the viewer. So the obvious rhetoric, right, is, right, the thing that the painting seems to want to convince us of, right, is the necessity of the workers' uprising, right? But it undercuts this by making the most sympathetic figure in the painting, the figure that's actually looking right into our eyes, this stupid-looking wizard. So what do we do with that?
Could that be there to like try and distract us from the fact that the lower class is uprising and to make us sympathize with the upper class?
Well,
No,
It's
it's
con-
who Diego was.
yeah, I mean, like, if you know anything about Diego Rivera and his politics, his sympathies are clearly with the guys in the back. But at the same time, right, as silly as these intellectuals are, and as parasitic as some of their behavior might be, right, wiping them away is also going to destroy some things of real beauty, right? Is going to destroy some things of real value, even if we're just talking about the value of just being able to be eccentric, right? Even if we're just sort of talking about your right to be your right to be a friggin' weirdo, wearing a funnel on your head with a long beard, right? So, yeah, these work like are their expressions even necessarily angry or more kind of amused and contemptuous?
It's kind of me.
I'd say
Look at
contempt.
these.
Yeah, they're kind of sneering a little bit, right? At these silly intellectuals. But when these intellectuals are gone, right? Who's going to write the poems? Who's going to sing the songs? Who's going to play the music? Who's going to think about things that have no practical value? And I would argue personally that thinking about things that have no obvious practical value is actually a worthwhile pursuit, right? That there is more to life, as a wise professor once told me, there is more to life than God and toil. So, what this painting is doing here, right, is sort of showing us that there is a little bit more to these intellectuals than the obvious anti-parasite argument might have us think, right? And that they are more human than they might appear. They're more like us than they might initially appear to be. Even if Rivera does want to get rid of them. Okay, so does this make sense to everybody? And this is just one way of interpreting this particular painting. There are other ways you could read this, other ways you could look at this. I'm just trying to give you an example of a painting that has some fairly obvious symbolic resonances so that you have something then to go build on for your homework assignments. You can also look at, sort of in the chapter, the authors do a similar exercise on the painting known as Whistler's Mother. So you can use that as an example as well. Does anybody have any questions? All right, good. And yeah, so things you're going to want to do are you're going to want to look for patterns of imagery within the painting, right? Things that seem to be related to each other. Look at how objects and figures in the painting relate to each other and to the audience, right? Somebody just had a hand up a second ago. Yes.
So you want us to sort of say what it means to us, not what the picture actually means. You don't want us to actually like go past that point and say.
I want you to come up with the best interpretation you can using the available evidence, right?
Okay.
Everybody get that? Yep. Okay, great. All right, so we'll see you in a week.